What's up, everybody? Hope you're having an amazing day today. I am Peter Cole, and you can probably tell this video is going to be a bit different. I'm trying out a few different things. I'm using a shotgun mic where I used the Blue Yeti before, so if my voice sounds terrible, it's because I recorded this wrong, but I'm not going to go back and record it again. I'm going to make sure I'm doing it this way. I'm also doing a different lighting setup, obviously. I've never done this before. And my cat's in here because he won't shut up and he just keeps crying constantly. So he's in here as well, but I just gotta deal with that. You know, so often with Game of the Year awards, when people are deciding on them, it's like, what does Game of the Year mean? And people get in arguments about, this is Game of the Year. No, that can't be Game of the Year because it's not this. Like, for instance, last year was PUBG, where people were like, how can this early access unfinished game be Game of the Year? And some people were saying, it's the biggest game of the year so far, that's why. And people were saying, you can't put an unfinished game that isn't on quality with these other games as Game of the Year. So instead of trying to spend all of this time just deciding on one award, maybe even two, I'm breaking it down into seven categories. That's right, 7. Those categories are the most important game of 2018, the game I played the most in 2018, the biggest botch of 2018, which one did they mess up so bad that it deserves that award, the biggest surprise game of the year, the best game of the year, which in my opinion is going to be more about what game do I think pushed the envelope, what game do I think came out and just blew me away and was so impressive, and then my personal favorite of the year. And you might be surprised and say, wait, the best game of the year isn't your personal favorite? I think it's going to be interesting when you guys hear what I have to say. So starting off with the most important game of 2018, it's undoubtedly Fortnite. Now, before you jump down my throat or make any kind of negative comments or talk crap because I mentioned Fortnite, let me say something that I'm going to prophesy now and I think is going to be true for the whole time that I prophesy it for. Yes, prophecies are what we're doing on these channels now. Fortnite is going to be to the gaming industry what Minecraft was. Fortnite will be the game of the decade from 2010 to 2020. When I say game of the decade, I don't mean the best game of the decade. I mean the game that in 2025 we're going to look back and say Fortnite was that game that changed the landscape of gaming. Look at what it's already done. The huge games of the year like Call of Duty completely ditched single player campaigns, which has been what gaming has been about for 2 decades now, and just did Blackout and multiplayer, like, and zombies, I know. But anyway, it's already changing the world in so many ways. They announced a month ago or whatever, at the end of 2018, that they have over 200 million active users, which is actually insane. Like, it's unbelievable that it's that high. And I could go on a rant about Fortnite, but the reason I say it's the most important game is because I think this is the game that we're going to continue to see the ramifications of what this game has done to the industry for years to come. And so it's probably the most important game, like I said, of the last 8 years, of the whole decade that we've been here. Minecraft came out in I think like 2009 or 2010 or something just like that, so it was just at the tail end, and just like Fortnite is at the tail end of this decade. Moving on to the next one, which is my most time played, and the reason I put this one second is because that's also Fortnite. And the reason Fortnite was my most time played is because while I sunk a lot of hours into these other games, Fortnite was one of those games where I was at my family's house and they wanted to play something and we could all whip out Fortnite and play it together. Whether I was around people, we were just out somewhere and people were like, hey, let's do this. You know, I had it on my Switch. I did a lot of streaming with probably a lot of you guys that were watching this right now. I spent a lot of time in Fortnite this year, playing with people, playing with friends, playing by myself, wanting to get the battle passes, and having really cool experiences with it. So yeah, Fortnite was probably my most played game. There are some that kind of got pretty close, I think, things like Red Dead Redemption that are massive, but Fortnite's that, like, up here one, you know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
Another game I don't think is going to be much of a surprise is the biggest botch of the year, which was Fallout 76. Undoubtedly. Undoubtedly. And part of the reason Fallout 76 is so, what's the word? Painful. So painful to me personally is that if this had been any other franchise, any other developers, any other anything, it wouldn't have been as bad. But this was Bethesda. And not just, I know they had their Austin, Texas team working on it as well. I think it's in Austin, Texas. It's a Texas team, I'm pretty sure. I know they had them working on it as well, but Bethesda proper was also working on parts of this game. And the fact that they could let the Fallout franchise be put out in this way. I mean, yeah, we were all disappointed in Fallout 4. It was a good game. It was a debatably great game. But it was not Fallout 3 highs. It was not Skyrim highs. But I never could have expected that this would be the game that would come out. When Fallout 76 was announced, I was pretty excited because I thought the idea of going around in this big open MMO world type thing. I guess it's not MMO, it's a server, so you have the small. Anyway, I thought that was a really exciting idea, going around with friends, looting with friends. I mean, we've always said, how cool would multiplayer Skyrim, how cool would multiplayer Fallout be? No one wanted this. No one wanted a broken, horrible game where they went back and forth on all kinds of things, messed people up with money, messed people up with the collector's edition. They gave them the wrong type of bags. Like, there's so many things you could go into about Fallout 76, and I want to do a deep dive on it eventually. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see a deep dive on what happened with Fallout 76 in the future. But anyway, that's a game that, for all intents and purposes, it should not have been terrible. And it was. And we can forgive Bethesda jank. It's a thing. Bethesda jank is a thing. But what happened with Fallout 76 is incompetence. It's a cash grab. It's pushing something out that never should have been pushed out. And that's what's so disappointing about it. And that game's never going to recover. I still see it for $39 everywhere, basically, at this point, online. It sucks. It sucks for Bethesda. It sucks for Fallout 76. And it just sucks in general. It's the biggest botch, 100%. How could they do that? So I think the biggest surprise of the year, not counting Fortnite, because I think Fortnite is the biggest surprise ever. Like, no one, I guess that and something like Minecraft, people probably never expected those things to get as big. Minecraft had, I guess, a bit more of an expectation because it's a create your own whatever game and it was really cool, but no one expected Fortnite to blow up. I want to talk about a game that is one of my favorite games of all time now, and it's so incredible, it's so amazing, and I actually reviewed it on the channel, so that might give you some hints. And that's the new God of War. The new God of War was unbelievable. As someone who, I've never been a big hack and slash fan. I mean, I enjoyed them enough. It's kind of fun to just get in that God mode power trip and just destroy enemies, but the God of War games never really appealed to me too much besides being spectacles and destroy everything type games. And so I think myself, along with many other people, saw the new God of War, saw all the changes they were making, saw how different they were going to make it, and I made the video a while back about how the changes were really good and they were the direction it needed to move, but I still had lower expectations for it, just because, like, I don't know, we could never have expected a 10 out of 10 game to come out of this. But God of War did so many unbelievable things to impress me. The fact that it was all one shot, there was never a cut in there anywhere, the whole game is one shot. As someone who does videos, that's studying video in school, that's unbelievable. That a game with that many hours and that much story and that many amazing set pieces and landscapes and battles, all one cut, that's incredible. The story was amazing. Kratos, for once, was actually an amazing character, and so was Atreus. Like, all of the characters, enemies, all of these things, it was consistent one of those games that I thought I saw the best part, and it kept pushing me farther and farther. The first time you throw the Leviathan axe and it comes back into your hand, it's just like, I can't believe what I'm playing right now. So that was a game where, I mean, even to this day, I'm talking about it. I want to go back and play it right now. That's what I want to do. Out of all the games I'm going to talk about, I want to go back and play God of War again because it's amazing. I mean, let's see if you can see it. It's too dark, I think. On the God of War statue, right there. Oh no, you might not be able to see. I think that's Kratos' little head. I don't know. It's different than in the camera than to me, so that probably looked really stupid. But yeah, God of War was one of those games that from beginning to end blew my mind, and I'm so happy it came out. I'm so happy to have gotten to play it. And I'm so happy it came out. I'm so happy I got to play it. And it's just, I can't believe that a God of War game was that good. It was. So to Corey Barlog and team, you guys are thebomb.com. I feel like originally I might not have had this category, but I can't remember at this point. But that's best console. And, you know, for the early parts of the year, I thought I would have gone with the Switch, because there were some amazing Switch games that came out this year. I mean, Super Smash Bros. Alone, come on. But it's the PS4. Like, undoubtedly, it's the PS4. And the reason I say the PS4 is that the exclusives on it this year were insane. Guys, they were insane. God of War, first of all, 10 out of 10. Spider-Man on PS4, I'm still deciding. I'm still, what is the word? I'm like sitting with it. I'm letting it stew. I'm thinking about Spider-Man being the best superhero game ever. For me, it's always been the Arkham series for a long time as the best superhero games, because come on, those were incredible, but Spider-Man might have beat it, and I'm leaning that way. I'm really leaning that way. but I don't know. I'm still working on it, but I'm leaning that way. Detroit Become Human, another incredible game that I need to talk more about because there's so many things there that I really love, and I don't think it got the attention that it should have gotten and was supposed to get. I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, this was a really weak year for Xbox. We all know that. And I think Microsoft is really just prepping for the next generation. I think that they're basically like, we're gonna get all of our eggs into the next generation basket because we failed hard on this generation. And Nintendo Switch is going strong. They had a lot of great games, but Mario Odyssey, Mario Kart, I know that wasn't exclusive, it was a remake, whatever. Breath of the Wild, those were all last year. Last year was undoubtedly the year of the Switch, and while this year's been big, it hasn't been that big. I mean, Pokemon Let's Go was great, Super Smash Bros. Also great, but I don't think those compare to none of those compare to God of War. Super Smash Bros. Is kind of like its own thing, and it's kind of hard to compare to those anyway, but games, when you have calibers of games like God of War, Spider-Man, and Detroit Become Human, those type of things coming out, it's not possible to compete with. So I have to go with PS4 this year. And also, Red Dead Redemption 2 can't be played on the Nintendo Switch. A lot of these big AAA games can't be played on the Nintendo Switch, which also gives the edge to PS4. So now for best game of the year. Guys, I'm sorry I have to do this. It's a tie. It's a tie. It's a tie. I know. I really wanted to choose. I really wanted to choose one, but I can't decide between God of War and Red Dead Redemption 2. And I say that because Red Dead Redemption 2, on top of all of the amazing facets about it, the giant open world, the fact that Rockstar just makes games that are impeccable where everything feels lived in, Red Dead Redemption 2 feels like the next Witcher 3, if that makes sense. One of those games where I'm playing it and just over and over again, I'm reminded like, wow, this is incredible. I just can't believe how incredible this is. And of course it has its issues and everything, but what they do with the story, what they do with the acting, what they do with the animation, what they do with attention to detail, it's just unparalleled. Like, it's incredible what they can do. And so Red Dead Redemption 2, I feel like we all knew it was going to be one of these best games, but it's right up there as one of these games where I'm like, we're going to be looking at this for the next few years like the thing to get over, like the hump, the thing to beat. But the reason I have to throw God of War as a tie in there, two reasons really. One is God of War showed how a franchise can be remade, remodeled, renewed, refreshed, that you can breathe life into something no one thought could have the life like this in it. And there's something about that was so incredible. And like I said, it's 10 out of 10. It's one of the best games of the year, one of my favorite games of all time. And it was just because every part of it was so good. In my review, I talked about the tiny little nitpicks I have, and they're incredibly tiny. There's the little menu system things, or like a kind of little bit of repetition in enemy, but I mean like all the enemy designs, all of the landscape designs, every piece. Like, talk about attention to detail. I feel like this game shouldn't have been possible. Like, you go from God of War 3, which had these amazing set pieces and stuff, but to just alone, I know I talked about it earlier, but like, you guys have to understand, a video game with one shot, where it's only one shot, loading matters, having to cut for cutscenes, having to cut for different landscapes, wanting to cut to different cameras for effects, that alone is such an amazing, impossible, beautiful task that it was completely unnecessary. Like, when they're sitting there planning God of War and they're like, what are we gonna make this game? You could have made this game without that one shot camera thing. It would have felt different. It would have felt a lot different. They probably could have done a lot of other things with it, but they challenged themselves as creators, as artists, as people who want to build these experiences. They said, no, like, we're gonna push this way farther than video games have been pushed before. And I think those are things that we don't appreciate, but that are things that these creatives, these artists, these developers, these people who want to make these amazing games, those are the things they're going to look at and be like, we've done these things before. Remember God of War, how it had one shot camera? The whole thing was one shot. We got to compete with that. We don't want to just keep making the same stuff. It was like when GTA 5 came out with the triple character thing. It was one of those things where after that you started seeing a lot more multi-character games. Because once someone pushes that envelope and says, look what we can do, look what we did, look how we pushed this, what are you gonna do? I think those are the things that define what I love about gaming. The stuff that only gaming can do, you know? Like I said, as someone who studies film and as someone who likes those things, it's unbelievable that this is a thing. It's unbelievable that they were able to put all these hours into this beautiful, gorgeous one shot. And there are so many moments, the animations, the way the camera panned after it, the way the shots changed, where I was like, they just know, they just get it, they understand. And that's something where that's the most excited I am for games. That's what makes me want to be a gamer and makes me want to keep playing, is just what people are doing, how they're pushing the envelope in a way you can't see in any other medium. You can't see that with paintings or music or these things that they change and people develop and they create new things, but it's not as evolutionary as games are. Because games are growing with technology, they continue to change and develop and expand in a way that no other medium can, and that's just so fascinating. Sorry to get off my tirade there, guys. I just freaking love games, and I know you do too, so hopefully it wasn't that bad. I'm sorry. And last but not least, my favorite game. Now, this is a weird one, because when I say favorite, I mean, I'm gonna look back, like I said, God of War is one of my favorite games of all time. It's one of the best ones, and that'd be an easy pick for me. And it was gonna be God of War. I was gonna have that, and then I was like, I should just take this category out. But then I realized there's more to the games of the year things than that. And to me, the game that I had the most fun with, the game that I kept wanting to play, and I did way more than I needed to, and I wanted to complete everything, and I wanted to just keep going and going on it, was Spider-Man for PS4. I mean, don't get me wrong, like, God of War completed and did a completionist thing on that, because of course I'm gonna do that, it's God of War. And things like Red Dead Redemption stuff I played so much, but Spider-Man was the one where I was like, it's so fun. The first time I was swinging around the city, I was just like, this feels perfect. They got it so right. And of course there's issues and a little jankiness there too, of course. It's gonna be impossible when you're making a game where you're about a guy swinging around a city. But the graphics, the way they made Manhattan look, the way the characters interact, the story, like I said, the gameplay, the swinging around, the movement, the momentum of the game, the collectibles. I like collectathons. I've always enjoyed Assassin's Creed games where I have to go around and collect a ton of things. I platinumed, or I think it was on Xbox, I got every achievement in the first Assassin's Creed. It was like 500 something freaking flags. It was a little too much there, guys. But Spider-Man had a ton of stuff, and I was really in the mood for that collectathon, and I was really excited to do that. And so yeah, I mean, that was amazing. That was a super fun game to play, so much there. And when I look back at like the most fun I had, Fortnite's a contender, like I said, because I played with so many people and I played a ton, and that was something that was really bonding for me, my family, people on YouTube, that like you guys that are watching. So that was really important. And then there was God of War, of course, Red Dead Redemption, both amazing games, and some of these other exclusives. Spider-Man was one of those games where like, I had Red Dead Redemption, and I chose to play Spider-Man. Now, I don't know what it would have been like if I had God of War at this time, and if they all came out right around the same time. Luckily, God of War came out in that pocket where it was a really good time to play it, and it was really the best thing out. But yeah, Spider-Man just kept me coming back, kept me wanting to play, kept me wanting to do more, and was so freaking fun, man. Now I'm gonna go play Spider-Man, I'm gonna go play God of War. I want to play all of these things. Well, guys, in the comments below, let me know what you think. You can use those criteria. You can say your favorite game, the best game, the most important game, whatever. You can give out some of the awards you want, things that I didn't mention. I did have a couple honorable mentions I wanted to throw in there. I think the Spyro Reignited trilogy was great. Like I said, Detroit Become Human, amazing. Super Smash Bros, of course. There's just a little bit of issues with that game that kept it off any of my lists, and I'm going to be going into that in another video because I think it's something that I need to talk about. Pokemon Let's Go, super awesome, was a really great game this year. A lot of little indies and things that I was thinking about putting on there, like I loved Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight was incredible. I think I'm going to do a shout out video to games in 2018 that aren't these and these Game of the Year ones that I want to talk about just because they deserve it. So those were my games of the year for 2018. Let me know in the comments what yours are. Let me know what you think, if I'm crazy or if you totally disagree with the ones that I said or anything else in the comments down below. I have a lot more videos coming out. I'm excited. Tell me what you think of the style, what you think of the lighting, what you think of how I look. I'm going to keep adapting and trying different things, and hopefully this audio sounds good. That's what I'm really worried about. But yeah, anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I meant for it to be short, but it seems like it's going to be pretty long, but maybe next time I'll make it better. Oh, you cute little kitty, you cute little kitty. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all those YouTube things everyone tells you. Do I even have to say that? I get to say do the YouTube button things everyone tells you to do, and you guys would know, ooh, what if that's my new thing? That'd be pretty small. Anyway, guys, I'll see you all in the next video. And that's the new God of War. He's just scratching away at the scratch pole. These categories are the most important game of 2008. He won't stop. What? What do you want? Oh my gosh. You are so needy. Hey. How are you going to do that to me? How are you going to be like that? So instead of trying to do that, instead of just having one game of the year, I'm breaking it down into 5 categories. Man, this feels weird where I'm at on the camera. I'm trying, guys. Is it shaking a bunch? I can't tell. I feel like it's shaking a bunch, but I don't know. So if the footage is really shaky afterwards, I'm sorry. Albus. Dog. Broham.